That never existed before. That's what we did. So how could we even think about blowing up America, undermining America? We're going to help America. Do you know how good that feels to think about America? And we're going to use a lot of American history. That's why it's good to know it. To try to bring the best out of the American people. Yeah. That's what we get. It's an opportunity. In life, you have opportunities. I mean, a lot of people don't realize it, but imagine that you know what opportunities you have. You have an opportunity to play a significant part in the historical process at just the right time to take your part of the world exactly where it needs to go. Can you imagine? That is an honor. That's a big deal. I know nobody never thought about it when I was, in fact, ain't nobody still thinking about it. But our study has produced that we are playing a part in that already, but we gotta play a bigger part this go around. So, resistance movements in North America, we're gonna resist that system by building. You wanna spend all your money on the military? We're gonna hustle money from here and there, and we're gonna help people with food, clothing, and shelter, and education, and help build lives. You're gonna take them away, we're gonna help fix them up. You do what you want. We're not asking you for nothing. That's what we're telling the American people. Imagine the congregations now in some churches, I don't know, I've been into a few of them, they're like corporations. 20,000 people, man. They're like you're going.
Convention.
You're like a convention center. These churches. I mean, even little ones, like you go right out Central. If you keep going out to near, what's that, Six Flags? You look at them churches over there. Them things. And all the Negro churches is ex-bowling alleys and all of that, right?
Malls,
Malls, they seat 1,000, 2,000. The church seats 3,000 people, and it's a medium church. Imagine if they use their wealth, if the people are middle class, they work downtown, they make a good living. Now they're going to try, with the preacher and the people, they're going to try to do the work that Jesus Christ laid out. To help the hungry, to help da-da-da-da-da. They solve all the social problems, but you don't need no work from the government. And that was the job of religion before a government. Remember, government didn't do all that, social services and all that. The religion did.
They say the same thing about when people have like mental health.
Right.
They said before Sigmund Freud and Darwinism and all that stuff came in, that was the church's job to solve that problem. That had nothing to do with that stuff they're coming up with now.
Right, yeah. So, all we're doing is returning to scriptural, and we're doing it kindly. So, the Christians can manifest their wonder, and the Muslims can manifest their wonder, all with love, kindness, and tenderness. Y'all want to be mad? Well, you put on your mad suit. I'm not wearing one. Right. Because if you're mad, I don't care what you got, you ain't got nothing. Tell the truth. If you mad and angry and spiteful and hateful, you could live in $1 billion. Hey man, all the rich people that I knew and observed and studied, they never enjoyed that money that much. They cut too many throats to get it, and they either had too little. I'm talking about somebody that had, in those days, $5 million. He feels broke because his homeboy got $8 million. Yes. So he's oppressed. Yes, he is oppressed. I'm oppressed, man. Screwed up, man. Got $5 million, nigga got $19 million, man. That ain't no way to do nothing. That ain't no way to do it, man. And he's sad. And then they do like Andrew Carnegie and all of them. They get so much money, and he almost went crazy trying to give away his money. All the Carnegie libraries, he said, how am I going to? And Bill Gates is getting into that too. All of them. In fact,
Warren Buffett too.
yeah. After you get so much money, see, that's the thing that we go through. We go through this cycle. I need money, and it'll make me happy. And there's a little bit, you start your little company, starts to grow. You give people jobs. It's kind of nice. It's really, there's a period when that is nice. Then you got to get bigger. So, shoot, that sawmill ain't working right. They ain't making enough money. It's called 500 people work there. We can cut that boy out. We can move it over to China or somewhere, right? Okay, so you gotta have, and then you start making more and more. You get distance. And now it's only zeros. Money don't mean nothing anymore. It's like some of the big dope dealers, the cartels down there, they wouldn't count the money, they would weigh it. I think 62 pounds was $1 million or $3 million, something like that. Just put it in boxes and weigh it, because who cares whether it's 3,200,000 or whether it's $4 million. There's so much money that I'm not gonna count that money. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna have it stacked in boxes. And the big rich white people, Bill Gates and them, just look at the line of zeros. Oh, I put a whole other zero on that. That's all. I put a whole other zero. It don't mean nothing. If there's nothing you can visualize it mean. So at the end of their lives, they want to give it away, because there's a good part in human beings that, hey man, there is, and some get lucky. You got to get enough to get that. You ain't going to $2-3 million is not going to get you to where I have enough I want to share with the world. So it's only a few people going to get enough to get that share. No, really. That's a natural part of the human makeup. Yeah, there. Okay, let me try to get busy. So, National War of Liberation. Never forget, this is a national war of liberation. To liberate what? To liberate the Muslims from the control of Saudi Zionist influence. To liberate the Muslims, can you imagine, from inferiority complexes, to liberate the Muslims from psychological damage that they suffer, right? We got to liberate them. We got to help liberate them. They say they have the disease. I don't know what they do or not. But we don't have it with the trouble, the conflicts we have. We don't have it. So the resistance movement of North America with alternatives, in other words, to show people what to do, not just we resist America. But okay, bump you America. Do you want to run around and act a fool? Go ahead. We don't care. We're going to raise money and help people, and that's what we're going to do. You see what I mean? So we don't care technically what the government do. We're not anti-government. We don't care what you do. So, knock yourself out. We'd like you to stay away from us, but we don't care what you do. Of course, College of Islamic Movement Studies, all that deals with we're always in the stage of archives, chronicling, and research. But right now, we're more in a stage of teaching. And as we teach and train, we also research our own, how are we doing, what could we do better? You see what I mean? But we're not going to go ask any of the groups what you think we ought to do, because they're not doing nothing, so how would they must, right? So we must have came up with the best conclusions so far, because we're moving the furthest ahead with the biggest amount of obstacles. We're doing the most with the less. We don't have nothing at all, Margaret. But everybody knows about us, right? You know, and that's the idea of torpedo patrol boat, to use the less to get the most. You can take a torpedo boat, a motorboat, and sink battleships and sink aircraft carriers. That means we're going to take small things and we're going to almost sink these big institutions. Actually, technically, we're doing it. Because everybody we come up against, they run and hide. But they don't hide over here, right? Even Fox News, they're going to mess with Sharp and them, but they won't mess with us. But we'll be calling them out very soon. Right in front, just like we call out Care and them. We'll be out there in front of Fox News, Walls, the Washington Post, whatever, everybody. That's what this new stage is about. I'll try to speak up. Muslim Parliament, of course, Muslim Parliament is non-territorial government. That's the key to that, non-territorial government. We've always talked about being a high-quality institution. And that's what we're already that, but I mean now a mass movement. See, the key to this part of it, they always brag, they got everybody scared, talking about leaderless resistance, and you can't have leadership. Well, we're going to do that. Why? Because that's what the job of Star Trekism is, go where nobody else gone before, right? And do what nobody else, because at a period in history, the thing that has to be done is what nobody else has done, right? So we don't have to look around for what our job is. Well, what ain't nobody else did before in history. In America, they have never had a ground-up organization developed to the point that it is a challenge to the United States government. They just haven't done that. So that's what we do. Yeah, that's your job right there. You don't have to stay up in the middle. Well, what needs to be done? It don't take no brains to see it, right? That is fun. That is also, hey man, that's nice. That means that you get a chance to play a part in history. That is rare. Look at people, are they playing a part in history? Yeah. The people tell them today is bean soup day. They go down and buy bean soup and they eat it. Today is Kentucky Fried Chicken Day. They go eat their Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? Right? I mean, the people do what they're told, the advertisement, the sales, the everything. The people don't have no control over nothing. Everything else is controlling them. Can you imagine how sad that is?
They're viewed as worthless.
Hey man, So here we are. We're going to have a good time. And see, we're not mad. They thought the stuff, and we understand where it was coming from. Because we have to study. What do they think about us? So what did I tell them? Oh, my goodness, in '83, when me and one of the snitches was riding along, I told them, well, don't worry about the Iranians. In 20 years, they're going to be in pocket and we'll be. And so he ran back and told the boss. So the boss said, well, make sure that in 20 years, you don't have no friends with the Iranians. And lo and behold, and you have to think, before you, see, you not only think about what you set up and what you arrange, but what about before you came to the conclusions? What did you tell people? Right? And they might go to your ex-wife or something and say, when he gets under pressure, he wants his way. And if he don't, he'll get mean. Because she remembers that for a period, right? Because she's just like any other girl who was saying, with all of this trouble, why don't you quit? Why don't I quit? What are you talking about? You know them church-going ladies, nice ladies, what they're saying is true. Wow, true, just but that ain't what you want to hear, so you'll be getting mad. How the hell I'm going to fight the white man and everybody else, and then somebody sitting right here whining about being good? How the hell I'm going to be good when there ain't no... only the strong survive. That's what the record says, right? At the same time, what I'm talking about. Only the strong survive. So anyway, you go back to what they think. What did their friends? What did their friends tell them? What did your friends tell them? How far do they go back? They go all the way back. If they could get back to the nursery or the daycare center, which we didn't have, that's how far they'll go back. And they come all the way up. Who do they know? Well, we got cousins and so-and-so. That's what they used to do at my house. When we go to family reunions, watching, taking notes. If we go to Arkansas, which one of the family members is he attracted to? Which ones? I mean, to everything. If you have a cousin that's a woman, and they look at you, and you look at them, and they know y'all kind of like each other. You know, kissing cousins, ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's tobacco ways, you know. Right? That's what we call it in the country. We call them kissing. Did y'all do that? Kissing cousins. All the cousins come from way out of town. Shoot.
No,
what are you talking about?
I know about that. Trust me.
Yeah, they was kissing cousins. They're way back. I don't know who you are. I ain't never seen you before. Shoot, you look like a girl to me. Kissing cousins. That's what everybody called them. So anyway, they take... I'm telling you, all you got to do, you got to study. Study them, study yourself. What do they tell everybody? So their attack in Oakland came from 30 and 40 years of study. You could tell the amount of percentage, how much of it come from abdul-alim, how much of it come from family members. And my family members did good. Especially the boys, shoot. They did 15 years, even as before they even, you know what I mean? They're going to break you down eventually, unless you're a Muslim or struggler. And after about 15 years, and I told them, I said, hey, no, sir, you don't have to sit up in jail all the time. They're going to be by with a little offer, so take it. Can't do nothing to me. They got you in the pen because my family. That's why you don't they take you. I said, of course. Well, tell them we'll be happy to help. You can't tell them nothing. You can't do nothing. Right? So join the party. If I'm the target, if I'm a meal ticket, pay, feast off of it, everybody else is, you might as well get your share. And they both off parole. They sure ain't living right, but they still off parole, and they just get a little treatment here and there. Anyway, 2020 vision. 6 strategic outposts. That's in stage 1. 3 teams each outpost and stage 1. PGWV, psychological guerrilla warfare vehicle. That's a car, it's a van, it's anything. All it takes is CDs, DVDs, flyers, and public address system. That's all PGWV is, psychological guerrilla warfare vehicle. They call it Bradley fighting vehicles of the white man told. Now we got our vehicle. Psychological guerrilla warfare vehicle, a van, with some flyers in it, some CDs or DVDs, or what? Just pop it up on top. Remember, we can pop up in front of if Isna's having this thing, and we can drive up in front, pop our address system out of the window, park right in front of the place till the police tell us to come and go. We looking up here, looking over there, and we may get 5 minutes. But it's 5 minutes right there with people who just drive around the block. They went to eat over, they got the food carts out there, everybody's eating. We stop by there and give them a spiel. We may be there 10 or 15 minutes till somebody come. They may never come. Well, people are walking back and forth. We don't not only hear that. This is what guerrilla warfare is. They try to exclude us. Just remember how much fun we had right over there in Baltimore, just standing out there talking. But imagine when we professionalize it. We don't give them no rest. It's not just one of us. Now we got 3 teams. They can't go anywhere without hearing us, without seeing us. We got flyers when they come out. We're there when they go in. We're there when they come out. Anytime they're making a move, we got them covered. So by the time the first day of the convention is over, we got them saturated. If they have a regional convention, whatever, conventional hotel or somewhere in front, we just roll up and get busy. We're not antagonizing nobody. Remember, we're really making friends. We're not calling names, a bunch of cowards and punks and that, talking all that girlified stuff. We're not going to do that. Why not? Because our job is what did we used to say? Norman Vincent Pig. Win friends, was that Norman Vincent? Win friends and influence people. Multi-vehicle, multi-purpose vehicle propaganda. It's just multi-purpose vehicle. That means any cars out there that run, right? You just jump in them and get busy. We even have our training sessions. We're going to train ourselves to be more influential, to be more professional without losing our revolutionary character. You see what I mean? We don't want to get slick and glitzy, you know what I mean? But propaganda, in Spanish, propaganda is just advertisement. That's all. The West, the Northerners have a bad name for propaganda. Propaganda is bad. No, but propaganda is only advertisement. Remember, PT boat is a multi-purpose vehicle. Y'all remember in World War II how when they had Corregidor and all those places surrounded, you know how they got MacArthur to Australia. General Douglas MacArthur, PT boat. You ever see the movie MacArthur or you read about it? They put him on a PT boat. 2 PT boats. Wife and his family. That's how they got him out of not on a submarine or airplane or nothing. They put him on one of them fast PT boats, him and his family. Just a motorboat, about 50 feet long, something like that. So, okay. So, this plan that we're into already is the perfect plan for the time which we're living in. It don't cost much money. They could arrest somebody and take the car. They could set the car on fire. They could set 2 or 3 of them on every week, because we'll just go to the auction or go to the newspaper and buy a cheap car that runs good. 95 Volvo station wagon don't make no difference, right? A Chevy van, long, all of that. Don't cost anything. It's just how we view ourselves and the image. See, the thing that we're out to change is the image of the Islamic movement in North America. The Islamic organizations are here, but we want to change the people's image of them and their image of themselves. That's one of the main goals. We already have tons of Muslims. We already have Masjid. So we want to help, when we talk about it, help influence the direction of change. Okay, so now, this is where research, this is where selling comes in. See, first of all, like a team, you have to sell the team on itself. You got to convince the team that you are Super Bowl material, right? You got to convince them, the coach got to convince the team that you got it in you to make it all the way. Because if they don't believe it, right? If they don't believe it, then they're not going to live up to that, because they don't have a picture of themselves as successful as winners. And you have to, your constituency, you got to let them know this team is full of possibility. Keep your eye on them. So enough of them will come out to keep the fans, keep themselves happy, and keep the hot dog vendors moving and everything, right? Enough people got to come out and cheer them along. And pretty soon, the image changes. See, nobody is operating off of, I wanted to be a handkerchief-headed Muslim. That's not, they didn't. They just came here and they lived like any other immigrant. And technically they did a good job. The number of Muslims during this last 50 years, 40 years, that stayed in Islam, look at the other generation around 1900 from Lebanon and all of that. I think they built one center down there in, was it Ohio or Iowa? Cedar Rapids?
Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
One. If you saw pictures of it, you wouldn't technically think they was Muslim. It was a Muslim church almost. But, so they came here, and I mean, we're with them watching and working with them. They didn't mean to, they came here to get the benefits of America. They didn't come here to establish Islam. We can't blame them for being born with a bunch of dictators and no development. And they say, hey, if I get to America, I could make more money and feed my children, and I could da-da-da-da-da-da. And they get here, and in the meantime, they establish all of these masajid. That's not bad. In fact, they did better on average than all other groups. What I mean is, the other groups that came here and built centers, they did better. There are more masajid probably now in America than synagogues. And the Jews be thriving on their little synagogues, right? The Muslims haven't did bad. In other words, plus the government pressure on them, plus the changeover, when the changeover happened amongst the Muslims, when they first came here, was down with dawah. You know, dawah. They were proud. 20 years ago, everybody wanted to do dawah. Roll the dawah. Invite America. They wasn't bad. They wasn't good, but they wasn't bad. Now, we have to help them understand. And we have to control ourselves too, because sometimes when we get to talking, we get to blasting that why you handkerchief-headed, low-life, coward, Uncle Tom, blah, 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 which may be true, but it's not their fault. And neither is it the Negro faults, the Negro Muslims. The Negro was headed in the right direction with their masajid. You look at the Dar al-Islam movement's paperwork, let's call it its constitutional structure. That boy was good in 1963, and they didn't know nothing about no Islam. But boy, look at that structure. It's wonderful. When the chief started moving everybody from the first resurrection to the second resurrection, was they talking about the third resurrection over there, somebody?
Well, I know that's a book that Sherman Jackson had written, Black America in the Third Resurrection. But I got there a little late, so I don't remember.
The third resurrection. You know, we'd always ask each other, was you in the first? Yeah, I was in the first. Anyway, the chief was a good man. He technically was a good man. He wanted to break up them old. See, people don't know how mean and dirty. They think this new group is cutthroat. No, sir, it ain't cutthroat compared to the original. Just like Malcolm said, remember, this thing is infiltrated all the way up to the top, right? Hey man, in Chicago, them Negroes would pull out a wad of $100 bills and slap another believer upside the head. It was unbelievable. The ministers and the captains were so crooked, it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. So the chief came in to break that all up, and he did. He just wasn't a revolutionary movement person, that's all. That wasn't his. He wasn't heavy on martyrdom and all of that stuff. He said it. And all of that. Chief did a good job. But you see, all the brothers I know in Oakland, all the brothers there, all the ex-captains and everybody that became imams, man, I watched in Oakland how it was destroyed. Because I was there. I said, I can't hang with this. That's the reason I left. Because it was just unbelievable. But all those buffoons that was talk real good, shoot, them imams, friends of mine. And you can see their names if you see so-and-so from Oakland, right? You know who I'm talking about right there. All right. Here's their style in the 80s and 90s. If you want me to come speak, I gotta have a 5-star hotel, if they got one, a minimum 4. Rent a car, and it costs you I don't know what. And the Masjid, the school, and other places were owned in Oakland. It was owned, all owned. Why? Because, you know, in the early years, we had to get the messenger plane. Y'all probably don't remember that. Had to get the Lamb airplane. And Sultan, his son, was a pilot, grandson. Y'all remember that? Okay. So we all had funds. So when the Lamb got his airplane, all that funds they bought in Oakland, they bought that old Catholic school. Because, you know, by that time, all the Catholics is moving out, it's becoming a Negro town. A real Catholic school, cultural center across the street. All the big 2-story houses, 2 or 3-story houses right there owned by the community. They not only last 20, 30 years. Why? Because whoever come to Imam sells them or gets loans on them, and then I walked in there in the mid-80s or something, might have been about 1999, and there was a sign, $1,200 for the mortgage. So, you know, $1,200 for the mortgage. It wasn't no mortgage on this was bought. But Imam driving a BMW and then bought him a house up near mine. So anyway, okay, so that was the second. The first was bad, but the second was pretty serious too. So the job goes to us. It's not the people's fault. Look at the pioneers over there.
What pioneers?
But I mean, it's taken over, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But who they bring in? They bring in Sergeant Doe or whoever he is, right? And half the other staff is, well, we asked, hey, why don't we have a Eid together, right? And you don't hear from nobody. Okay. We saying we don't want to do nothing, we just come and enjoy each other's company. That's all. So they don't reply. Okay, so it's, the people aren't bad, they're just not led. That's all. So the job is already done, the Muslims are here. We just have to use skill and try to move the Muslims toward their own liberation for the good of Islam and for the good of America itself. Because as the Muslims become better at their Islam, they can begin to help America itself. Because remember, in our religion, solutions to drugs and alcohol and all of that. Guy can drink all he wants. He take a shower, he can still be drinking. But as time go on, his prayer and his fasting is going to ease away. Just like the Arabs did in Arabia, right? So that's all. And the other thing, if it's done right, remember a lot of the children, a lot of the parents in Medina were hypocrites. But their children weren't hypocrites. Right? So, we got everything going for us. And 2020 vision. So we got a vision for 2020. I'm going to speed up. Value of goals. So we're going to Oakland now, not to, this is not a defensive move, this is an offensive move. This is goal clarity. What we want to do is some of the things we just talked about. Goal difficulty means, oh, that's what you want to do, so how much is it going to cost? How much thinking, how much work, how strong your belief, how much is called goal commitment, how much will you have to be committed to get that done. And we talked about around here stages. Stage 1, Richmond to Baltimore. All of them such it. Every week. When I come back here, I may give khutbah here once. If I'm here 4 weeks, I may give 1 khutbah here. The rest is getting around to the people. Yeah. Wait until they come out of the masjid and give them a nice little spill. Everywhere. Masjid Muhammad included. Greeting the revolutionary heroism. In other words, we have to create our own heroes. Do anybody know of any black heroes or Muslim heroes? And I haven't found any. So we have to hook our own up. It's not from arrogance. And we have the history behind us to verify. Every time we tried to work with the Muslims, we said, you go forth, you be the chief, you be the, right? That's what we always did here. Okay, so the people do relate to heroics and heroes and great leaders syndrome type. So you have to produce something for them, or they won't know what to do. So we'll produce our own selves. We waited for everybody else. We've been waiting for 35 years. When we started this almost 40 years ago, we went everywhere looking for the great leaders, and the ones we found that were substantial, you go out and we'll get behind you. We'll be with you. Whatever it didn't work right, it didn't go right. The other thing is bigness. We have to teach people the value of being big and influence in the direction of change in their own life. People just don't believe you can design your own life. They don't think like that. People don't do it. They get a job, they'll be fine. So design your own future, shape the image, the picture of Muslims. Self-image psychology. Nonviolent resistance, liberate America. And I'll close with New Frontier. This is the new frontier. This is what we're doing now. It's similar to what we've already done. But if you had to, this year would be the demarcation, if you had to have one, from the past to the present and the future. But they're all linked together. New world of global harmony. We have to do it. And I'll close with utopia. Utopia means a good place. It don't mean la la land. It means a good place. That's what the word means. So we can produce an environment that's 80% good, 10% neutral, and 10% bad. That's not a bad place, right? So we got a world that's 80% good, 70% good. That's better than the one now that's 15% good, if that much, you know. So, this is our mission, I believe, and this is what we headed to Oakland for. And the other thing is, we're going to go to a lot of people, and during this period, try to get more people involved. This is not an individual thing. Every revolution eventually, or evolution, had to go to the masses. The masses. that's where we're headed, inshallah. So, you don't have to turn it off, but thank you very much. Akulu Kali Hana, Astaghfirullah, Liwalakum. Now, are there any questions? Just a few little questions about how this is going to happen. It's kind of big talk for colored people and stuff. Anything? Just a question or two. Just do y'all think this is possible? Sound kind of out there? I mean, realistically.
Well, you've already stated we've already been in the process, so
Yeah.
it's working.
Yeah, but how does it feel like it's working? Does it feel a little funny, or? I'll tell you the truth, to me it feels a little, it's normal, but it's strange. Strange, and technically, I'm high all the time, even when the white folks put stuff in my food, some smelling sauce, it give me a headache. It's still a big trip, it's nice. You know, it's a trip, that's the only thing I can call it. It's really a trip, but it's a privilege. So, if there's no more questions, are there any comments? Would anybody like to cheer it along or anything? Okay, if not, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Okay, that's it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So that